Hello, it's Sunday, July 27th, and we're here in the garden. It's the evening. So, last week I mentioned biological mosquito control. I'm pretty sure I've just made a mosquito factory. Those little wigglers are all mosquito larvae. Great, so this is gonna get dumped out and we'll try again. In theory, this is supposed to work, but it's not right now. Corn, the stalks towards the front of the patch hit that kind of max height first, and I was a little worried the ones towards the rear would not catch up, but they seem to be doing so. This stalk that fell had a little tiny ear on it that we kind of dissected, and it looks, I don't know, I guess like it's working. There's no color on the kernels yet, but that's okay, it's still young. The potatoes look like they're getting ready to be harvested. There's two varieties. This row is, check the tag, Pinto. And that means this row that is a little bit closer to being ready is Cayuga. And they're both a gold variety. So like, think Yukon Gold. And you know a potato's ready to harvest when the foliage starts dying back. So even though they're both a gold variety, that second row back there looks like it's on its way out, especially more so than the first one. These tomatoes are going really super. Lots of them are already at the kind of the max height that I can reach to harvest. So we're gonna have to just start chopping the tops off because I'm not getting a ladder out here to harvest. These trellises are kind of an idea I came up with after trying a couple different types over the years. I don't even know what to call it. The trellis styles I've tried so far are a central leader, which is you just have one stake in the middle and kind of train everything up to that. But then why I didn't like that so much is you just end up with one main vine of tomato, and you prune it so you're missing out on a lot of foliage and then tomatoes. Another style I've tried is called Florida weave, which you have kind of two posts on the end of the bed, and as the tomato grows you weave twine in and out of it, to make like a weave. And I didn't like that either because it was too labor intensive, so this is what I do. The central leader of central stake of T-post. I think that's a 6-foot T-post. And then in kind of a bow tie pattern are 10-foot pieces of rebar. They don't have to be 10 foot, but that's the length rebar comes in, and I don't really have the ability to cut it. They're kind of stopped from falling with those wire clamps, and that's just wood on top to prevent it from flopping all over the place. So as the tomato grows, I kind of put tiers of twine around it to keep it somewhat contained. It's obviously not perfect because escapees happen, but that way you get to keep really a lot of foliage, and it's not more than, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes a week of trellising stuff. And interestingly, so these are chocolate pear tomatoes. So they're pear-shaped. Here's one. This is a variety we saved from last year, and I can say with certainty the saved seeds are producing bigger fruit than they did last year. I'll show you some more examples of this. I have the basket that I harvested today set out to show you. The sun gold, man, it's such a weird hybrid plant. It's well over the top of the supports, so much so that it was like growing over and then flopping down earlier in the week. This is the Martino's Roma. This is the determinate style of tomato, so they're just starting to ripen under there. And the determinate tomatoes, kind of the fruit all ripens all at once. I'm not sure I'm going to grow a determinate variety again. That plant is like half the height of the rest of it. Doesn't seem worth it given I can't grow all the varieties of tomato I want, and I'm not going to get a ton out of it, but it was worth a try. I've been harvesting some peppers and eggplants, which are great. I think we have maybe 2 shishito plants this year, so there's about to be enough to be reliably eating blistered shishitos every couple days. The green beans, I swore I planted them, so great. The ones that were started a little later are finally catching up. I've checked the package on this variety multiple times, and it claims that they really are a bush variety rather than a pole variety. This kind of reaching around of the vine leads me to believe that it would really benefit from having something to climb on, but it's supposed to be a bush variety, so I guess I'll just leave it, see what happens. I planted carrots in here. They're not up quite yet. This is a fully volunteer tomato in the herb bed, and this happens because we compost tomatoes, so the seeds just go crazy. And tomatoes they're really a vine, and if left to their own devices, they'll crawl along the ground, and wherever the stem contacts the ground, it'll root. So this plant is trying its best to root into thin air here, which is not going to work. But some people, if you're new to growing tomatoes and you see this kind of frilly stuff, it looks a little bit out of science fiction, but it's fine. It's just a tomato trying to live its best life. This vine here is a volunteer squash of some sort, which is here. I'm not sure if that's going to be edible. Anything in that family, like watermelon, zucchini, pumpkins, squash, it readily hybridizes. That's a variety that, like, there's separate male and female flowers, and cross-pollination happens very easily, so that if you're trying to grow seeds that breed true to, say, watermelon or cantaloupe, you can't grow them anywhere near each other. But if you're trying to grow watermelon or cantaloupe as food you want to eat, you can grow those wherever you feel like. So that might be some kind of, I don't know. Earlier in the week, it looked a little bit like a cantaloupe, but it's smooth skin, even though it kind of looks mottled. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe it's a bonus fruit. I did finish rearranging the strawberry bed, and some might say that looks worse than when it started. The strawberries, I think, are in shock from being all lifted up and then put back down. I put some pretty heavy straw cover on them to try to retain moisture because it's pretty hot here this time of year. Carrots are not quite up yet, but they were definitely planted. And I know I've shown you my weeding efforts. There was such a delay between weeding this little section and this weekend that weeds started to grow back. So that's pretty frustrating when that happens. And I maybe have learned my lesson of, after you weed it, immediately put something down to cover the soil up. So re-weeded all of that, put straw mulch, and then weeded up to here and straw mulched all of that. This plant is a honey nut squash. It's a tiny variety of honey nut squash. It's maybe half the size of a butternut squash, but it's take all of that sugar and concentrate it down into something that's much tinier. And that's how you get a honey nut squash, and they're delicious. A couple years back, I was able to make some soup that we were able to eat on Thanksgiving. This plant unfortunately went vertical before climbing onto the fence and climbing all over the place. This is a birdhouse gourd. Here's a plant or a flower that looks like it was successfully fertilized, and now it's going to grow a gourd. And these grow nice and big, and you can let them dry completely, hollow them out, and make birdhouses, which we've done as gifts for family members and some of Declan's teachers, and he decorates them. So maybe I'll finish weeding this to unearth the rest of the squash that's in there. I've noticed this is the first year I've seen this on our property. This is called bindweed. It is the dubious distinction of being a noxious and invasive weed, meaning that it's noxious. It's either poisonous or toxic, and I think in this case it's kind of only to horses, but whatever. And invasive, meaning it just takes over. So totally forgot to mention this. When I cleared this bed out, under the weed fabric was a total network of bindweed roots that just, I don't know, they look like forbidden spaghetti. It's like big, thick, disgusting roots that were crawling all over the place under the weed fabric, and then whenever they could find a gap, they would come up to try to get to the light. So my strategy with something that pernicious is a extremely targeted application of weed killer. So these are conical tubes that were liberated from my workplace. I've drilled a hole in the top and filled it with weed killer, and then you find the end of some bindweed and stick it into the weed killer. So that's a way of ensuring that the weed killer does not get on any other plants, and then whatever you're trying to kill sucks the weed killing agent up into the vasculature of the plant and kills it. So I'm trying a couple different locations of that, and there's some, actually, this is a daylily bed in our front yard, so there's some of those little conical tubes of poison out there. And yeah, she has been prevented from investigating this area any further by 2-foot high chicken wire. She is not clever enough to figure out how to jump on things, because she's seemingly totally capable of jumping onto her bed, but can't figure it out because it's too much of a brain teaser. So this is enough to stop her, and it's short enough that we can step over it. I don't remember if I mentioned last week, in addition to pulling all the weed fabric out, I also planted cover crop, which is starting to come up. So the purpose of that is that you let it grow, and when it's mature, you chop it all down and turn it back into the soil, and it really improves the nutrition and the health of the soil. So this area needs it after having that landscape fabric down for, I think it was down for 2.5 years. Okay, so here's the harvest. This one's cheating because this was pulled a little while back. That was that huge Hungarian heart tomato. It clocked in at 1.5 pounds, and that was the first tomato I harvested this year. So I'm really excited. I hope that bodes well for the rest of the year. And I've got our eggplant. That's Thanos listata degandia. These are those chocolate pear tomatoes that are larger than the previous varieties. This is that Rebel Starfighter Prime tomato. So far, not impressed, but we'll see how it tastes. There's a nice big split in it, so we'll have to eat that soon. Some Sun Gold tomatoes, Padron peppers, and I totally forgot and made a mistake this year. Last year, I meant to grow, I bought purple bell pepper seeds, and this grew, which I'm pretty sure is a banana pepper. I forgot to make any notation of that on the seed packet, and started seeds again for purple bell peppers, and remembered pretty recently that this mix-up happened. So another one I'm excited about is this is a Sartre-Ralois tomato. I think that's my favorite type of tomato we grow, other than Cherokee Purple, which these can really get they really get beat up, but they taste fine. And yeah, the Sartre-Ralois, they taste almost like pineapple to me, but they're such divas to start from seedlings. So I don't know. I think they're worth the effort, but some people might be annoyed with it. Yeah, so that's the update for this week. Have a good week.